Hey guys, Keith here with Two Guys How To's, and we're just cooking some dinner and wanted to show you a simple recipe if you don't want to fry your vegetables, a little more healthy. And we're going to do some roasted, I call them roasted, or just oven baked vegetables. So long story short, we're going to get a nice size, I like a stainless steel bowl. You can use wood, you can use plastic, whatever works for you. And we chopped up some green peppers, some red peppers. We went ahead and threw some broccoli in there. And we've got a bunch of other vegetables here that we're going to mix in as well. We chopped up some mushrooms, and we've got cherry tomatoes, as well as some carrots and green beans. So what I'm going to do is mix all this in this big bowl here. And we're going to just go ahead and mix everything in. And if you make too much, it's fine. You can always eat it tomorrow. And we're going to run this all mixed together here. And we've got our spices and olive oil here. First we're going to start off with a little bit of olive oil, and we're going to generously coat everything. That'll stick to everything and get it good. And add some Worcestershire sauce, or however you want to pronounce this. No one can ever pronounce it correctly. And we're going to just jazz that up and juice it up with a lot of that. That's what's going to give us a lot of our flavor. As well as we've got a salt-free seasoning, which has a bunch of different type of spices in it. It's cheap, $1 at the dollar store, wherever you go. So we're gonna heavy that up and get this good and covered. As well as a little bit of oregano, not too much, but we're gonna cast it in there just for a nice flavor. Hit it with a little bit of garlic powder, because garlic's good for you, and it does taste really well. A little bit of minced onion. You can use real onions. We didn't have any today, so we're just going to use some minced onions to substitute out, as well as some onion powder, just to give it that onion flavor that we're missing. Get that going with some black pepper. And you can season this to your liking. I kind of just throw it all in there just to see what's going on. A little bit of some pink sea salt. We're going to run some sesame seed. These are toasted sesame seed. They have a little bit more flavor in them. If you don't like seeds, you don't have to put it in, but these are toasted, and they taste a little bit more, a little bit more organic, gives it a little bit more bite than just a regular sesame seed. And we're going to hit real lightly with some seasoned salt. Not too much of this, because it does overpower everything. Add a little bit more olive oil to stick to everything. A little bit more Worcestershire sauce. And I'm actually going to add in some fresh rosemary that we had out in the garden from last year. And if you can see it, I picked it off the branch. And I'm just going to crush it up. I'm not going to go real heavy on it, because we don't want a ton of rosemary to overpower everything. We just want enough in there to make it taste good. And we've got a little bit of fresh sage that we grew. I'm going to use a little bit of that. But all of this you can use store-bought. You don't need fresh. You don't need to have things super fresh. It tastes a little better, but it's all good. And if you like spice, we grow some cayenne. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of this in case my son decides to eat it. I'm gonna grab a little one out of here. I'm not gonna make it too heavy. Sometimes I'll use these, the whiter ones that didn't grow as well. They didn't mature and they're not as spicy. But I'm gonna add this. It gives it nice color. We're just gonna sprinkle that around in there, break it up. You can chop it up, you can do whatever you want with it. I just break it up, seeds and all. I don't use the stem, throw the stem out. And you just want to get down in and dirty with this. Coat it, make sure everything's coated all the way. And sometimes, if you're not in a time crunch, you can put this back in the refrigerator. Let it sit for maybe a half hour to an hour. And all of these spices will just marry together and soak into as much of the vegetables as possible. And it does taste really well like that. We're not going to do that tonight, because we got some ribs in the oven and they're almost ready. And we do have the oven preheated at 400 degrees. And we're just going to pour this right back in here. And I'm a little messy, but we're going to pour it back in this baking tray here, or baking pan. We're using glass. You can use metal. You can use anything that can go in the oven and withstand some temperature. And get that ready to go. I'm going to rinse my hands off, and we're going to get some aluminum foil. And we're just going to cover that up with the aluminum foil. Keep all that heat in, very similar to steaming it, but we're going to steam it in the oven instead of steam it or saute it on the stove, because this is just way healthier. It's easier. You just put it in the oven, set it, forget about it. 30 minutes later, it's a done deal. So we're gonna wrap this around here like this. Get it nice and tight, that way it holds all that steam in there and all those juices. And you're all set. We're gonna put this in the oven. 30 minutes from now, we're gonna check on it, make sure everything's good. Right around 30 minutes at 400. And it's gonna be tasty, nice and tasty. So walk this over and we'll put this in the oven now. Let me move this camera here for you so you can see. We actually have this on 375 because we have the ribs. So if we do it a little bit at not quite 400, we'll just leave it in for another 5 or 10 minutes, no big deal. And I'm gonna move these ribs out of the way here. Put that on up in there, set this timer. Since it's at 375, I'm just gonna go ahead and run it at, instead of 30 minutes, I'm gonna run it even 40 minutes. And that's it, done deal. All right guys, it's been 40 minutes and we're ready to take those roasted vegetables out of there. And I got my oven mitts and my apron because I'm full on Johnny Chef tonight. And let's turn this oven off. It's beeping, so that means it's dinner time. We're gonna turn this oven off and I'm gonna get into my, get my oven mitts on so I don't get burned here. And let's see what we got going on. First, we're gonna take out those roasted vegetables and I'm gonna place them on these little hot pads right here. Make sure you got those hot pads down on a good countertop or any kind of countertop. This will burn it and it'll crack that granite countertop like that in 1 second. Now we're gonna take out one of these racks of ribs here, set that there. You can see that. The smells are smelling good and the looks are looking good. So we're gonna go ahead and plate this real fast for you guys. Take this off the vegetables and I'm gonna move over a little bit more so you guys can really see what's going on right here. And man, I'm gonna take this rack out of here if it'll just pop up out of there without spilling over. And man, that's what you want. That's a nice looking rack there. And we're gonna set that there, clean up a little bit, and take some of these vegetables and we're just gonna plate those. And there's some serious juice down in there that you can pour over top your stuff later on. But we're not gonna worry about that right now. We're just gonna get a nice amount of vegetables across this whole plate. That way everybody who's at the table can eat some. And if we want more, we might have a little bit more left in this pan, but I'm gonna put it out there and just kind of color it up. Use these different yellows and the oranges from these carrots and the red peppers, the yellow bell peppers, and those cherry tomatoes. Get them on there. Show some of those nice mushrooms that soaked up that juice really well. We definitely want those on there. And that's pretty much it. I think that's plenty for everybody right now. If they want more, they can come up and get more. But we'll set this over here like this, put this back there. Maybe add another carrot or two just for looks. You know, you want those colors in there. That presentation is almost everything. That way they see it, it gives them that wow factor. So there you go. That's what that all plated up. And I'm gonna bring it in a little bit closer and see if I can zoom it in actually. Maybe you guys can see exactly what's going on with this thing here. And what it looks like. And that's it right there. So, you know, you got your rack of ribs. Normally somebody would probably eat this whole thing, if maybe a portion of these vegetables, but we're gonna start out with this rack. We have more in the refrigerator, actually in the oven. So if we need more, we're gonna come back and we're gonna get more. And until next time, you know, when we cook something else and show you something else that's interesting that you tune in on, you know, give us those thumbs up, give us those likes, make sure you share it with family and friends. And most importantly, hit that subscribe button, because if you don't subscribe, you're not going to get notified of new stuff that we got coming out. And I know stuff that we have coming out is going to interest you. So tune in. Until next time, it's Keith with the Two Guys How To's, and get some of it. I'm just straight chilling. I'm hobbit-dobbin' chilling. I'm hungry. This video has been taking a long time. Oh, are we rolling? All right, cut.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer. They're cute little things.